Hand aufs Herz. Wer von euch hat schon mal den Begriff Fabianismus gehört? Ich bis vor kurzem noch nicht. Viele von euch werden wahrscheinlich die gewalttätigere Schwester, den Bolschewismus, kennen. Der Bolschewismus verhält sich zum Fabianismus wie die Kettensäge zum Skalpell. Beides sind Schnittwerkzeuge, aber sie nutzen eine andere Technik. Beides sind nämlich politisch-marxistische Ideologien. Sie sind also beide der Versuch, auf ihre ganz eigene Art und Weise, über den Sozialismus hin zum Kommunismus zu kommen. Und warum gerade der Fabianismus für uns hier im Westen so gefährlich ist, das erfahrt ihr jetzt. Film ab.
So we had communism, and then Leninism has come to be. And then there was the second branch that we opened with originally, Fabianism.
Well, this is the branch of communism that is perhaps the least known in the Western world.
Yeah.
And yet it is the most important to us in the Western world because we live in it. It is what is directing our lives. The word Fabianism comes from the Fabian Society, which was formed in England in 1884, just before the turn of the century, when a lot of these things were happening.
Fabian Society.
Fabian Socialist Society, they called themselves, and still do. We're still
There's
there.
that socialist word again.
Well, they love the word socialist, but they really, in their literature, they talk about it as they should, as collectivist. They say we are collectivists, and sometimes they use the word socialist interchangeably with it. The Fabian Society was named after a Roman general by the name of Quintus Fabius. And he was famous in history for defeating his enemy not by beating him on the battlefield, but by wearing him down in delaying tactics. In other words, he would wear his enemy down by refusing to make a frontal engagement against the Carthaginians. That was the main ones that he was, Hannibal and people like that.
Wow.
And he just kept, delaying, and finally the attacking forces would give up, and they'd say, we can't stay on the battlefield here for years,
Yeah.
So they'd go home. And so he was famous for delaying tactics and drawing things out. The Fabians selected him as their symbol or the symbolic name on purpose. They objected to the Leninists, not on the basis of their goals of collectivism, because they agreed with that. They were saying to the Leninists, you people are stupid, you're going about it in the wrong way. You are trying to conquer the world and make a new world order based on the model of collectivism through force and violence and bloodshed and quick revolution. That's the wrong way, they said. The proper way is patient gradualism. They said, let's follow the motto or the tactics of Quintus Fabius and delay so there's no confrontation and drag it out over a long period of time. And instead of confronting your enemy head on, we will infiltrate his institutions. We will move our people into his government agencies, into his educational institutions, and into his charitable organizations, into his corporations, and we'll gradually convert the world to international socialism in that fashion.
This dragging it out sounds like Congress.
It is Congress. This is what's been going on in England and in France and in Germany and in the United States. The move toward what they called socialism or communism, they said, would be gradual in such a way that there'd be no violent revolution, but at the end of the line they would have it, and nobody could say it happened on such and such a date. So the Fabians use as their symbol the turtle. That's actually their symbol to signify coming to power slowly but surely. Now, who are the Fabians? Well, when they were formed, of course, there were such well-known people as Arnold Toynbee, the famous historian, H.G. Wells, there was George Bernard Shaw, Beatrice and Sidney Webb, who were founders of the London School of Economics, which is where President John F. Kennedy went and learned all of these Fabian socialist concepts that he instituted when he was president of the United States. The Fabians work quietly and behind the scenes. You don't hear about them. Not all of the people that practice Fabianism are members of the Fabian Society. I mean, Tony Blair right now, who's the the head of the British government, he's a member of the Fabian Society. But most of the Fabians in the world are not actual dues-paying members, but they follow the strategy of Fabianism nevertheless. And that is the philosophy that dominates the United States of America. Now, these two groups both agree with each other on the ultimate goal, but they fight against each other very vehemently at times for domination, as to see who is going to control this new world order.
They have their own battle going on within themselves.
Their own internal power struggles. And when you look at the United Nations today, almost all of those factions fall into either the Leninist group or the Fabian group. And they may appear to be opposed to each other on issues, but if you look at the issues, it is never the issue of collectivism that they're opposed to. They agree that the New World Order at the UN has got to be strengthened, given more military, more money, and so forth. All they're fighting about is who is going to be in the best jobs there. That's all.
So the bigger threat to me sounds like Fabianism because of its stealth qualities.
I would say in the Western world it is a bigger threat because the Fabians specialize in countries which have a developed parliamentary system where people are used to voting in their own dictators, I say that advisedly. They got used to that. But the Leninists seem to specialize in countries where self-rule is not generally expected. In other words, third world countries and backward countries where people are quite used to dictatorships, open and above board dictatorships. They wouldn't know what to do with a vote anyway because it's not part of their culture. It'll take a long time before they get there. So where there are parliamentary structures in place and people are used to going and voting for things, that's where you find Fabianism coming to the front because that's ready-made for their strategy. But where violent revolution and blood in the streets and overthrowing a hated regime is the method of bringing about political change, as in Africa, Asia, many countries in South America, that's where Leninism comes to its front. And these are the two factions that dominate the world today. You must understand that reality.
Well, go ahead and put that word in your vocabulary. Somebody says communism, say, what about Fabianism?
And that's all, folks.